Okay, time to roll. Romanesque and Gothic figures from medieval Europe are either chess pieces or humble servants who cringe obsequiously before Almighty God. Donatello was the first sculptor to define what Renaissance art was going to look like. Medieval artists were sometimes aware of ancient art, but their study was haphazard and their sources were fragmentary. Donatello was an archaeologist, perhaps the first, and he dug up the ancient artifacts with pick and shovel and deliberately reinvented ancient sculpture for a new age of Christianized humanism. His St. Mark is a clean break from the old medieval school. St. Mark is transformed into an ancient humanist hero, unyielding, affirmative, equal partners with God. The face is commanding, the hand is graceful yet powerful. Rather than bury our hero under a schematic of complex folds, the drapery enhances the physical structure of the man and reveals his lines of movement. And then we come to his stance. For the first time since antiquity, we see the contrapposto or weight-shifted position. The weight-bearing hip is up, the shoulder above is down, one leg is straight, the other is bent and at rest. A natural anatomical posture well understood by the ancients, lost for 1,000 years, and rediscovered by Donatello. But more than any other sculptor since the ancient Greek Lysippus, Donatello could do far more than one thing. The opposite poles of his genius are best seen in two works, his David from mid-career and his St. Mary Magdalene, a valedictorian work from his old age. Donatello's David was the first freestanding, weight-shifted nude figure since antiquity. In medieval art, you almost never saw a naked person. There were only a couple of exceptions. One of them was in representations of Adam and Eve and their fall into original sin. The other consisted of graphic recountings of the tortures of the damned in grim hell. Donatello returned the nude figure to its ancient pedestal. Once again, it was the lodestone of beauty and divine proportion. The mythological David is a willowy adolescent, and he contemplates his power and his angelic perfection with one foot on the severed head of the evil giant Goliath. Beauty overcomes strength. There is a sharp homoerotic overtone in this work, and that is no surprise. Homosexuality in Renaissance Florence was punishable by death, but this was seldom seriously enforced. In fact, homosexuality was everywhere, and only fanatics seem to have given it a second thought. The army was a homosexual Disneyland, as was the clergy, where broken vows of chastity were easy to conceal just among we boys. The intellectual circles of Florence, where Donatello had many friends, were gay enclaves, often as not. The very word Florentino, or from Florence, came to mean gay, no matter where you were from. For the record, there is no hard evidence that Donatello was swinging one way or the other. Well, fast forward 25 years, Donatello, the young lion of Italian Renaissance art, is an old man, at a time when very few people lived to be old. He knows his day is at hand, he throws away heroic idealization, and he contemplates last things. According to Christian mythology, St. Mary Magdalene was a former prostitute who heard the call of Jesus. After the martyrdom and alleged resurrection of her Messiah, it is said that she spent so many years in a desert retreat that her clothing rotted away, and she wore her long, matted hair as a garment. Ravaged, emaciated, chicken-legged, near toothless, she makes her final peace with God. The flesh has betrayed her, as it always does. But her inner light burns within like a cinder. Donatello brilliantly unites two very diverse ideas: dark medieval piety and the sort of broken-tooth realism that would not become a vital issue again until Caravaggio and Rembrandt get hold of it 150 years later. The Italians, as a general thing, were idealists. Donatello was an idealist. Now, he doesn't give a damn. As opposed to the seamless perfection of the bronze David, Mary is hacked out of a piece of wood, seemingly with an axe. Donatello is almost an expressionist here. At life size, the Magdalene is about 4'11", but to my way of thinking, even Michelangelo, at his most titanic, would never rise to this level of profound, hard-won, spiritual poignancy, or even get close.